those cars have been sitting outside
Sure.
for days now in this sub-zero temperature. Um, what is the first thing we do when we think we're going to be able to drive? Um, what what should we? What's rule number one?
Well, rule number one is don't drive unless you have to until this all clears up, right? So the roads, I'm sure, are still not perfect where you are. It's going to take some time to get that stuff cleared up. Staying off the roads is a safe way to go. It's safe for you to stay where you are instead of being in the vehicle and on the roads, but it also keeps the traffic to a minimum where the road crews can kind of get their work done without a lot of traffic there. But I know as well as you do that that's not always possible. People have to get out on the road. So, preparing to get out and start driving during or after an ice storm, there's a handful of things that can make it easier on you, and certainly will want to keep you safe as well. So if you've got a frozen vehicle, right, that's going to be really what you encounter first is being able to access the vehicle. If your door handle, if you try to get in the car, the door handle won't open, or the door handle won't open the door for you. The last thing you want to do is keep tugging away on it. You might just pull the door handle away, right? So you want to try to break that ice seal around there. My advice would be to lean on the door with your body a little bit and try to put some pressure on the door that breaks that seal of ice that's all the way around, and maybe break some of that up. If you can't get in the driver's door, try the passenger door. If you can't get in there and you have a four-door vehicle, you want to try all four doors before you take any other action, and maybe just get into that one door, get inside the vehicle, get it started so it can warm up. If you can't get in at all, you can always use some warm water, not boiling water, but warm water to try to pour it around the door a little bit and break that ice seal. Hot water's not, or boiling water is not a great idea. It can break your windows, can certainly damage your paint, but warm water will break that seal as well.
Okay. Hopefully you weren't sitting on empty beforehand.
Yeah.
Uh, but explain to me, because I don't know my daughter asked me about it, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but why you needed to have a full tank beforehand.
Well, it's not so much science as it is just preparedness, right? So when you have ice storms like this, you want to make sure you're prepared in the sense that you're going to have maybe limited access to your resources. So when we have ice storms, we often have power outages. If your power's out, your local gas stations might not have power. You might be trapped on the road watching that gas gauge getting closer and closer to E. So as you see these storms coming, it's always a good idea to make sure your gas tank's full, your cell phone's charged, and all those things, because all that stuff is really at the end of the day dependent on whether you have power or not. The other reason for making sure you have fuel in your tank and you're not down on E or close to E is because you could get stuck on the road for an extended period of time. If you're traveling from place to place and there's a road closure, there's an accident that's got the freeway shut down and you're stuck, it gets pretty scary if you have an hour or two where you're on the freeway and you started out with very little fuel to start with. So making sure you have enough fuel in your vehicle, making sure you have enough windshield washer fluid as well. Nothing worse than driving down these sloppy roads during this time of year and not having windshield washer fluid. So making sure your vehicle is prepared before you get on the road, that's definitely the safest way to go. You also want to make sure you're taking the right stuff with you, right? When you get out on the roads in this kind of weather, you're talking, freezing temperatures in your area. And you want to make sure that you're taking the things with you need. Things like enough warm clothes for everybody in case you had an incident and you're stranded for a period of time. You have some warm clothes to put on, maybe some water, maybe some non-perishable snacks that you have with you, granola bars or something else. But just a kind of an emergency kit to make sure you have things with you if you're on the roads. But again, if you don't have to drive, best bet to stay off the roads.
What about your EV vehicle? Plugged in? Not plugged
Plugged
in?
in. Yep. Plug it in. Always a good idea to make sure it's charged. For our battery operated stuff, whether it's your EV, it's your cell phone, anything else, again, if the power's out, you're going to struggle to charge. That's part of the kind of planning or preparedness for these events. For events like this, we had plenty of warning, right? We knew this storm was coming. We had an idea over a period of time. We want to make sure that when we have that warning, we're charging things like our cell phones, our EVs, any devices that you have that are battery powered. Make sure you have access to, the charge. Your cell phones is going to be super important as well, right? Make sure that's charged. And when you're in the vehicle, make sure you bring a charger with you.
Now, a lot of people are going to be like, okay, my windshield is clear. I'm good to go. But do we need to be getting like all the ice off the car before we move?
Yeah, certainly as much ice as you can, right? You want to get as much off of there as you can. Definitely clear all the windows. not just your windshield, not just a spot small enough to look out and see the road, right? You want to make sure the windshield's completely clear, but the windows all the way around the vehicle as well. Also, your headlights and your taillights, right? All the safety systems, those things can get obscured very easily by snow or ice. Make sure those are cleared off as well. But definitely make sure your windshield, all the windows around the vehicle are clear of ice and snow.
What about like that sheet of ice on the top of your car? Does that need to be off?
If you can get it off there, certainly. I mean, when you're talking about ice versus snow, it's a little harder to move the ice, right? When you have that fluffy snow, you can kind of just brush it off of there. But as ice locks, is harder to get off. If you can get some of it off, it'd be great. Those are certainly hazards from time to time when you're driving on the road, maybe get on the freeway and that sheet of ice comes off and hits another vehicle around you or behind you. So definitely try to clear as much off as you can get.
I'm trying to think what else. I see in here, but conserving your primary heat source by using your heated seats instead of your heater as much.
Yeah, that's good advice. You can if you're stranded somewhere, using your heated seats draws a little less energy than maybe running the heating system in your vehicle, particularly with electric vehicles. But the goal would be to not get trapped somewhere. But again, your heated seats will keep you warm. That's a good resource if you're in the vehicle for a period of time. Keeping the car warm, though, especially when we're talking about leaving, as we kind of started this discussion, as you're getting ready to go, make sure you're warming your vehicle up. That's going to help get some of that ice off there as well. As that cabin of the vehicle starts to warm up, that's going to thaw some of that ice, make it easier for you to remove it from the windows all the way around the vehicle.
How long should we be letting it warm up?
Well, long enough to make sure you thaw it, right? I don't think that there's a really long period of time. The vehicles are pretty robust. They're designed to operate in cold weather. You don't need 30 minutes of warm up for the mechanical systems, but definitely long enough to where it's heating that ice off of your windshield, heating the ice off of the windows around the vehicle, and makes it easier for you to scrape it off there. Again, ice is much harder to get off if you haven't used an ice scraper often. When that ice really locks on there, particularly if it's been sitting there for a period of time, it's a little harder to scrape off. It gets much easier if that cabin warms up and you can put the ice scraper to it and kind of push it off of there instead of having to dig at it.
You said not to put boiling water on the windshield, but you can put water on there to kind of help it along.
Well, I think for the windshield, warming the car up is gonna be the best bet. Starting the car, turning the heat on, turning the defroster on, right? So it's blowing the warm air on the windshield. That's going to be the best way to warm the windshield. Certainly, pouring warm water around a frozen door may help you get into the vehicle. Definitely not boiling water. Warm water is the way to go. But to thaw the windshield and the windows of the vehicle, let the vehicle do the work for you. Warm it up. Plus, it'll be nice and cozy when you get in there and you have to drive. You'll have the right temperature and you won't freeze.
Okay, so obviously, I'm not even an expert enough to know what I should be asking you. So what should I be asking you that I?
Well, I mean, so if we're talking roadway stuff, I mean, I think we hit it, right? I mean, stay off the roads if you don't have to go anywhere. Certainly, driving on the roads, a good question or a good discussion is always driving in these types of conditions, right? So oftentimes I get asked, like, what's your advice if you have to get on the roads? What's your advice for driving? Certainly the answer is, lower your speeds, increase your following distance, be cautious in the curves, watch for ice on the roads. And sometimes we can't see that ice, right? I mean, I don't know how common that is in Dallas, but certainly in Michigan, when we have these weather systems pass through, the roads will look pretty clear, but we have that kind of phenomena of black ice where you just hit these spots. So make sure you're driving for the conditions, definitely moving much slower, definitely not following, close to other vehicles, and driving very defensively and understanding the conditions that the road can get slippery very quick.